What truly sets a man above all others? It is not strength, for the strong may fall to a dagger in the dark. It is not wisdom, for the wise are often undone by hesitation. Nor is it love, for affection withers when fortune turns. The crowd worships shadows, not substance, and the one who rules them does so not by what he is, but by what they believe him to be. If men are governed by illusion more than truth, then the secret of power lies elsewhere, hidden, dangerous, and merciless. Do you dare uncover it? Men are not ruled by truth. They are ruled by the shadow of truth, by the image their eyes accept and their hearts embrace. Understand this well: perception is the coin of power, and he who controls it possesses more influence than the one who actually holds strength. For what is reality to the common mind? It is invisible, buried beneath appearances. Most men have neither the patience nor the will to search beyond what is displayed before them. They accept the mask as the face, the gesture as the essence, the word as the deed. And so the wise man does not waste himself proving reality. He bends reality into the shape others are eager to believe. Consider how men speak of leaders. Rarely do they measure their true virtue, for they do not live close enough to know it. They see instead the performance, how the leader carries himself, how he commands speech, how he appears in moments of triumph or crisis. Even a hollow man may be adored if he can make himself look full. And the strongest, if careless with his image, will appear weak and lose his grip, though nothing has yet been taken from him. Power does not belong to the one who is, but to the one who seems. This is not deception for its own sake. It is strategy. If men judge by sight, then sight must be guided. If they need symbols, then symbols must be given. A gesture of generosity may outweigh a treasury of gold unseen. A display of courage at the right hour may erase 1,000 secret fears. To appear just once as merciful, strong, and unshaken in adversity may bind loyalty more firmly than a lifetime of hidden sacrifices. The people do not love what you are. They love what they can imagine you to be. Yet this art demands discipline. To control perception, one must always be vigilant, for the eye of the crowd never sleeps. One misstep, one glimpse of weakness, may undo years of cultivated image. Better, then, to always wear the mask with precision. Speak carefully, act deliberately. Let no movement of your face or hand betray more than what you choose to reveal. If you are cruel, let it be hidden beneath the cloak of necessity. If you are fearful, let it be disguised as calculated restraint. Never allow the truth of your doubts or flaws to escape, for men forgive everything but weakness. The rare man who understands this principle rises above his rivals without ever having to prove himself in the raw contest of strength. His superiority exists not in what he is, but in what others see when they look upon him. And once they believe, their belief itself becomes his reality. Thus, if you wish to stand above the rest, do not labor to be great. Labor instead to be seen as great. Men's affections are fickle, as unstable as the wind, but their fears are enduring. He who builds his power on love places his foundation upon shifting sand, for affection changes with fortune, with rumor, with envy, and with time itself. One who is loved today may be despised tomorrow, cast aside by those who once praised him. For gratitude does not last long in the hearts of men. But fear is constant, for it arises from necessity, and necessity is never absent. When a man fears, he obeys, not because he wishes to, but because he must. Understand that to command obedience is not the same as to inspire devotion. Obedience is the stronger bond, for it binds action, not merely sentiment. Men will betray affection for personal gain, but they will not easily betray fear, for fear carries with it the shadow of consequence. A ruler who relies on love alone becomes the prisoner of his people's moods, but one who governs through fear holds the keys to their actions. For though they may curse him in silence, they will still obey. This is not to say that cruelty should be wanton or reckless, for cruelty without reason breeds hatred, and hatred is dangerous. The wise man understands that the aim is not to be despised, but to be respected, and respect is born when fear is balanced with the illusion of justice. Punish swiftly, punish rarely, and let your punishments be seen as the necessary hand of order, not the indulgence of malice. Men must believe that your severity protects the whole, that your hand is firm for their safety, even as it restrains their will. In this way, fear becomes not a chain of oppression, but a shield against chaos, and they will cling to you even as they tremble before you. Consider further that love weakens in absence, but fear remains even when you are far. A man cannot feel affection for a shadow, yet he can still fear the shadow of your return. Love must be constantly nourished, constantly reminded, like a fire that dies when unattended. Fear, once instilled, sustains itself, for the imagination of punishment is sharper than the punishment itself. The truth is plain men are selfish. They love when it costs them little and abandon love when it threatens their comfort. But they fear when your strength outweighs their courage, and in that fear lies your security. The heart is unfaithful, but necessity is loyal. Therefore, he who chooses to be feared secures what the beloved man cannot: endurance, obedience, and survival beyond the shifting winds of fortune. If you must choose, then always choose fear. Fortune is like a river that floods its banks, sweeping away the rigid and the unprepared. The man who clings stubbornly to one way, who insists on meeting every storm with the same shield, is the first to be broken. Power belongs not to the strongest in body or the sharpest in mind, but to the one who can change his form as easily as the river changes its course. To survive is not enough. One must adapt so swiftly that survival itself becomes conquest. Most men admire consistency and call it virtue, but what they mistake for virtue is often folly. To be unchanging is to be predictable, and the predictable man is easily defeated. If you act gently in all things, your enemies will learn to strike you where softness yields. If you are harsh in all things, they will learn to endure your blows until your fury exhausts itself. But the one who can be gentle today and merciless tomorrow, cautious this hour and daring the next, is the one no rival can master. Adaptability is the supreme weapon, for it makes you formless, and to fight the formless is to fight the wind. The seasons of fortune never remain. In times of peace, the cunning man prospers. In times of war, the bold man rises. The one who can be both at once, shifting with the moment, will always outlast those chained to one nature. Think of the hunter. He waits in silence when silence serves him, then strikes with speed when the prey exposes itself. The prey imagines him idle when he is only patient, imagines him slow when he is readying to leap. In the same way, power belongs to the man who knows when to bend, when to wait, and when to strike. But this art of adaptation requires not weakness of character, but strength of will. To change yourself with the hour is not the same as to be carried by it. The weak man bends because he has no choice. The strong man bends because he has chosen his moment. He submits only to conquer later. Flexibility without calculation is merely surrender, but flexibility with purpose is the very essence of mastery. Those who stand unyielding may appear firm for a time, but when fortune shifts, and it always shifts, they are swept aside like stones in the flood. The adaptable man is never truly defeated, for each loss becomes a disguise, each setback an opportunity, each turn of fate a new path for victory. Others break because they resist change. He rises because he commands it. To stand above the rest, you must become the one no circumstance can trap. Let others cling to their single nature like armor. You must be willing to shed yours like a snake sheds its skin. Only then will you endure when others fall, and not merely endure, but rule. Men judge with their eyes far more than with their hearts, and so the appearance of virtue matters more than virtue itself. To rise above others, it is not necessary to be good. It is necessary to seem good. Mercy, honesty, faithfulness, generosity. These are the garments that men wish to see draped over their leaders. Yet beneath the fabric, the body must be iron, cold and unyielding when necessity demands cruelty. For men admire virtue, but they obey strength, and the art of power lies in concealing the one within the other. Consider this: if you show yourself openly ruthless, they will fear you but soon despise you. For cruelty without disguise provokes hatred. If you present yourself as purely virtuous, they may adore you, but you will be crushed by those willing to wield the knife you refuse to touch. The higher path is to master both, to cloak ruthlessness in the mask of virtue, so that when you act with severity, it is perceived as justice, and when you deceive, it is praised as prudence. In this way, you commit necessary evils while still commanding respect and admiration. The masses do not see the depth of your soul. They see only the stage you prepare before them. If you appear merciful when you punish, they will call you fair. If you seem reluctant when you strike, they will believe you had no choice. If you show sorrow while taking what you desire, they will excuse your ambition as duty. Men forgive much when convinced they are witnessing virtue, even if they suffer under your hand. To master this duality requires discipline. You must learn to act with cruelty when needed, without hesitation, without pity, but always with the mask in place. Never let your severity seem born of appetite, but of necessity. Never let ambition appear as greed, but as service. Your mask must never slip, for the moment it does, men will see not the noble protector, but the predator. And once they glimpse the predator naked, their loyalty will wither. Those who fail to understand this truth either perish by being too gentle or are hated for being too harsh. But the rare man who can strike like a lion while wearing the face of a lamb becomes untouchable. His rivals are disarmed by his appearance of virtue, while his strength removes them in silence. His people admire his goodness, while his enemies fear his hand. To stand above the rest, you must weave virtue into a cloak, and beneath that cloak, carry steel. Power is not seized merely by strength, nor kept by wisdom alone. It is won by mastering the moment. Fortune offers her gifts only briefly, and those who are too eager grasp before the fruit has ripened, while the hesitant linger until it has rotted on the branch. Timing is the hidden blade, sharper than any sword, for it strikes not by force, but by precision. Most men fail because they move either too quickly or too slowly. The impatient rush into action before the ground is ready, exhausting themselves in vain efforts that yield nothing but exposure. The hesitant, paralyzed by doubt, let the moment pass. An opportunity once lost never returns in the same form. But the rare man who knows when to wait and when to strike possesses a power that others mistake for luck, when it is in truth the discipline of patience married to boldness. Consider the hunter who sets his trap. If he springs it too soon, the prey escapes. If he waits too long, The prey grows wary and avoids it. But if he acts in the instant, when caution has fallen asleep, his success appears effortless. In politics, in war, in every contest of ambition, this same law rules: act too early, and you are reckless; act too late, and you are weak; act at the precise moment, and you are invincible. This mastery of timing is not born from chance, but from vigilance. One must watch constantly, studying the movements of rivals, the shifts of fortune, the temper of the people. Patience is not idleness, it is preparation, the sharpening of the blade while others grow careless. When the moment reveals itself, one must act with such sudden force that hesitation becomes impossible. In that instant, your rivals, who believed themselves secure, find themselves already conquered. The secret lies in knowing that waiting and striking are not opposites but partners. He who waits without readiness is a coward, but he who waits with sharpened intent is a predator. And when the strike comes, it must be absolute, leaving no doubt, no escape, no second chance for your enemy. Men remember the one who acts decisively at the perfect hour, and they fear him, for they cannot predict when he will strike again. Thus, the true measure of power is not how strong your arm is, but how precise your hand is upon the hourglass of time. To rise above the rest, you must become the master of moments, unseen in patience, unstoppable in action, and unforgettable in victory. Most men know what they should do, but few have the courage to do it. They think, they calculate, they weigh consequences until the moment has already slipped away. In this hesitation lies the difference between ruler and ruled. Knowledge is plentiful. Virtue is praised, but neither lifts a man above the rest. It is the will to act that divides those who command from those who obey. The world is filled with dreamers, philosophers, and cautious men who speak endlessly of what ought to be done. Yet history remembers not the thinker who conceived the path, but the man who dared to walk it. The bold, even when mistaken, bend events to their advantage, for fortune favors the one who moves, not the one who waits for certainty. To act is to seize the ground before others can stand upon it, to claim what others are still debating. This is why hesitation is the true weakness of men. Fear of error paralyzes them, so they choose safety in passivity, not realizing that inaction itself is a choice, and often the most dangerous one. The decisive man accepts risk, knowing that even a flawed action can be corrected, while no correction exists for what was never attempted. He does not ask whether the outcome is guaranteed, for he knows that outcomes are shaped by the one who dares to grasp them. To act requires not recklessness but resolve. Decisions must be made swiftly, with clarity, and executed without retreat. Once a course is chosen, it must be pursued as if no other existed, for half measures invite failure. Men are drawn to those who show unwavering determination, for in their presence they feel both security and fear. Security, because someone has chosen the path. Fear, because such resolve suggests a strength they cannot match. Understand this well, even the clever and the virtuous bow before the man who acts, because action creates reality. Words, intentions, and promises are air, only deeds endure. A rival who hesitates is already defeated, for by the time he rises, the decisive man has already built a wall around him. To stand above the rest, you must become the one who does not flinch, who does not wait for perfect certainty, who moves while others doubt. For it is not knowledge nor goodness that crowns a man, but the will that turns both into action.